Hello again, everyone. I'm doing another video today, mainly to say thank you for all the new followers, for the heaps of messages I've had, and just the lovely comments. I honestly did not expect so many of you to be still interested in my life, my journeys. I guess when I put that video up last week or a few days ago, whenever it was, I just thought maybe some of you would still be around, some of the ones who'd watched me from the days of the bongo. So it's been really quite overwhelming to see so many of you still there, still happy to follow me, and so many new ones. So I just wanted to do this video today to say a huge welcome to everybody. And I'm clearly at my mother's house. I thought the sun has finally come out. It's been such a dull, wet, miserable week or so. And it's beautiful to see the sun. And I thought I'm going to make a cup of tea and I'm going to sit down with you, drink my tea, and just have a little chat about the past week and a few other little bits and bobs. So I'm going to get the kettle on. So I've just making my cup of tea. In case you're interested, the tea I drink now, day and night, is this one. It's the Yorkshire Tea Bedtime Tea. I have tried all of the biscuity flavoured teas, the different brands. I've tried them all and they're quite nice, but because my taste is quite poor, I can't really taste the different flavours. But this one I like because it's almost a nice mild creamy taste, and I drink my tea black. So, and also because the fact it's decaffeinated, because I drink multiple cups a day. I love it so much. It's just a nice little, I don't know, a little point in the day when you think I need a break, and yeah, a cup of tea is perfect. So we're going to take this cup of tea and we're going to sit in the living room, and it's just going to be a chatty video. I'm not out and about, I'm not doing anything in the van, it's just a chat. And as usual, I got lots to talk about. Okay, let's settle down. It was lovely to get a comment from someone, I can't remember who it was, but someone said it was nice to have a video like chatting with a friend. And that's lovely, because back when I was making the bongo videos years ago, I did try and do all the things that were really popular at the time, with the drone shots and the music and the transitions and the colour grading. And I spent a lot of time doing courses and trying to learn it all. And I obviously developed in that time, but it was really, it's quite stressful getting it good enough. And I was never quite as good as some of the really good channels. But it's just lovely to sit down with the camera, with my microphone on, and chat to you like you're a pal. And that is lovely. And it's kind of part of the new me. And on my vision board, obviously, I did have the big simplify. I'm trying to make life a little more simple. And this simple format means that I can come on and make more videos. So yes, got my little cup of tea and just wanted to, I thought maybe I could introduce myself again, because whilst I've been on this channel now, was it 5 years or more, there's been so many new joining, which I'm extremely thankful for. And I'm assuming, because most of you are joining from the video I did, well, some from the Roma home, but also some from the fact that I'm 58, single, midlife and all the rest of it. So I thought maybe I'd do another introduction on who I am, where I've been, and well, where I am right now. So yeah, I'm Julia. 50, I keep forgetting, I'm 58, I'm 59 next month. And My career path has been left school, followed the normal standard, you know, be a good girl, did well at O-levels as they were then, didn't do so well at A-levels. I didn't adapt well to the the differing kind of level of A-levels. Didn't go to university, but I did nursing, which was something I had a passion for since I was a child. Mainly, I will say, from watching Angels, the TV programme, and General Hospital, and having the Twinkle magazine for little girls, which had Nancy, the nurse, who used to put her dolls in hospital. And I had this very romantic idea of what being a nurse was going to be like. And it's all I ever wanted to do. And then I got to 18, went into nursing and found out it was nothing like what I'd hoped it would be. I actually didn't enjoy my training at all. I loved the social aspects, the group I was with. I was just terrified most of the time on the wards. Terrified. I had zero confidence. I was very shy. And half of the time, I didn't really, all my colleagues seemed to know what to do. They got on the wards for their shifts and they just got straight in, did they? And I was always very nervous, very anxious, afraid to do anything wrong. So it was quite not, and I don't know why I didn't change career. I think you just didn't. Never entered my head that maybe nursing is not the right career for me. But I persevered. I got married in the meantime to my first husband, and we had a lovely little house. I got pregnant, had my son just at the end of my training. Probably not ideal timing. So I failed my finals the first time, resat, and then got part-time jobs kind of that would fit around my then husband's shifts. And eventually got into a job that I actually liked, which was district nursing. And I did progress quite well at that. And then I found the real passion of mine, which was wound care. And I pursued a career as a wound nurse, tissue viability nurse, what they're called now. But yeah, I did that. And then I moved into sales, medical sales, initially directly related to wound care. So I sold wound dressings to nurses and hospitals and did really well at that, which is a strange choice for someone as I would say I am introverted, and I certainly was then. Quite a strange choice because sales is kind of, you've got to be out there and, you know. But I think because I was a nurse background, it helped me a lot. I could relate to the people I was selling to. So I did quite well and I enjoyed that. And I did develop a bit more of an outgoing nature. So I was in medical sales for a long time, 15 years plus. Moved around different jobs during those 15 years and ended up doing pharmaceutical sales. So I had to go back and do another great big exam, which I do love learning. I quite enjoy doing that. And that's where I found myself in 2020 when I started this channel and when the rest of the world stopped for the pandemic. And I'm sure every one of us has been affected one way or another by those crazy years, the lockdowns, the fear, the anxiety. And of course, I had just finished treatment for breast cancer, and there's a few of you who've messaged me to say either you've had breast cancer or family members, so my heart goes out to you, it really does. Very frightening time. I have been so lucky that mine was very early. I had no symptoms. It was caught on a mammogram, my very first mammogram. And it was, I think it was at level 3. I can't remember now. It had invaded. So I had the surgery to remove it, but it hadn't gone into my lymph. And with all the other tests they did, I didn't need to have chemo, but I did have 4 weeks of radiotherapy, which I found quite brutal. And during that time, I had just got myself a new job, a really good job with a huge area, pretty much the whole of the west of the UK. And in my little head, I thought that I would be able to do this job, no problem. I notified them, I told them what had happened. I'd had this breast cancer, that I was going through treatment, and I'd been accepted for the role just before my diagnosis. So I obviously kept them updated. And they said, look, obviously they couldn't say, well, you can't start then. We did the due process. I thought that I would be able to do the job, no problem. I thought radiotherapy, I'd just take things easy for a few weeks and then I'd be able to go off travelling around Ireland and the north of England and the south and everywhere else in between. And by the 4th week of radiotherapy, I also caught COVID because my radiotherapy tied in with the wave of COVID happening in the ski resorts initially. And it was just everything all at once. And it's just finished. Just as the lockdown happened, I rang my boss. I'd already done my initial training. I'd done 6 weeks. And I just said, look, I'm sorry. I just can't. I left. And they were really good with me. And they said, look, really appreciate your honesty. I felt so unwell. And I just thought, what am I doing? By that time, I'd also had the official diagnosis. Once they'd done the biopsy and they'd sent everything to the labs, they came back and said what type of cancer it was. And because they were able to tell me at that point that it was invasive, I was, again, dare I say, fortunate. I had taken out a critical illness policy, 15, 16 years previously when I had my mortgage on my own. I'd taken out critical illness. And just incredible good fortune in a way. Every cloud has a silver lining, as they said to me in the clinic. Because it was invasive, it hadn't gone through my lymph, but it was enough to trigger my critical illness payment. So I had a lovely payout. And I thought, why am I carrying on in work when I can just kind of live off that for a couple of years? I was obviously living with the husband I just separated from then. We were married and we were sharing a house, we were sharing all the bills, but I, still paid half of everything and nothing changed really, but it just meant that I could give up the great big career. And then COVID happened that year of 2020. I started making these videos, which I really enjoyed. And then I took on a few minimum wage jobs, mainly through guilt at being lazy and not working. So during the first wave of COVID, I worked in the field hospital. Even though I'd been a nurse, I went back. Clearly, I wasn't qualified any longer. I'd left my registration go, so I went back as a cleaner. Very interesting times. And again, a little bit of the guilt in me. I did that, and then I finished that. And then I did a delivery driver for just over a year. And again, that was quite nice. It was quite nice not having a stressful job with a big boss and targets and all the rest of it. It was just nice to have some money and a job that didn't didn't cause me a whole lot of stress. But then, so this was, I think, just after Christmas 2023, my mother became quite unwell with her dementia, and things were becoming very difficult here. She was living on her own, and things were becoming most unmanageable. So I gave up that job then, and from that point on, I was my mother's carer. Still making videos here. And then started making ASMR videos as well. A few of you have commented on my voice, which is so lovely. Thank you. And it was from a few people doing videos on the Importance of Being channel said to me, have you thought of doing audiobooks, or have you thought about doing ASMR? That's how the ASMR channel started. So yes, my other channel, The Welsh Lady ASMR, is when I do videos for relaxation, so it's whispering and rambles. So that started up and has done pretty well, as I've said to you. So my mother has continued to deteriorate. I moved in with her last summer, and it got to the point where she went in a care home for respite and hasn't come out. And as difficult as that has been, in a way, it's been a massive relief. And I know some of you, again, have messaged you're either looking after family members or have some involvement with people with dementia. And it's such a cruel, awful illness for not just the person with it, but for the wider family. Very difficult. And yeah, last year was really the worst of the worst. I could do a whole video on, I could be quite negative about it with the complete lack of support that I felt we had. But I'm not going to do that. It's kind of dealt with now. And my mother was able to choose a home that is suitable for her. She has settled in so well, really. And I picked her up just yesterday. She had her cataracts in one eye operation a few weeks ago, and she went for the pre-op for the second eye yesterday. So I picked her up from the care home, took her in. Her dementia has progressed quite a lot now. She really doesn't remember very much at all. She obviously still knows me, but just, you know, it's very difficult to talk about the past because there's so much she doesn't remember. As those of you caring for people with dementia will probably understand. But getting her there again was difficult. She uses a walk-in frame when she's in the care home, and she's very independent around there. Because it's all set up for people with similar conditions, and you know, she's so safe, and the carers are just wonderful. And you know, it's completely a setup for people with dementia, and she's settled there. It's safe. She knows the routine. And of course, I had to take her out in my campervan yesterday to the hospital, and I took her wheelchair because she can't walk far on the frame. There were no disabled spaces, so we had to sort of park quite a long way away. It was rainy, it was windy. And because my mother's in the care home, she doesn't really get exposed to the elements much. So it was quite shocking to have the wind and the rain. And it was a long way, and it's just everything is a struggle. And they were, of course, the hospital are fabulous. And, you know, Mum gets a little bewildered in those sorts of environments, but they were really kind. But unfortunately, it's looking now that my mother also has macular degeneration, which she's had for years, but it's progressed so much that they're not even sure if the cataracts are going to make any difference. Her eyesight is so poor, she couldn't see any of the letters on the board, and it was just a matter of counting fingers. So she's going to be assessed for partial sightedness. So it seems almost another cruelty that on top of everything, she's losing her sight, which is another reason I'm so thankful that she's in this lovely environment where, you know, there's always someone keeping her safe and keeping an eye on her. As I say, she lived here on her own up to last August and wasn't managing, so which is why I moved in. But anyway, that's that going on in the background. So with the result of all of that is my working life has come to an end, and I'm not sorry. It's like I said on one of my previous videos, I never wanted to be the retired, you know, lays around or, you know, taking up a hobby. That wasn't me, although you could say the ASMR in this video is a hobby. But it is making me some money, which is amazing. And I enjoy doing it. And I feel, it's like I said before, people benefit because people tell me that they find it relaxing. You guys are enjoying the videos. So for me, you know, this is what I want to keep doing now. And as I've said previously, I do have enough income to live simply. I have so many blessings to count, really. I have my mum's house to stay in for the time being. and a whole new world of opportunities, which is really, really exciting. And that's what the videos going forward are going to be about. And yeah, just of course with the campervan, freedom is there. I know some of you have said that you're planning on retirement soon, and from my point of view, gosh, if you can, do it. You know, I could have waited, and I did at the end. I was like taking on another job and then another job because I thought, oh, it's not right yet, I can't retire yet. And then, well, circumstances dictated that I did in the end, and I'm not sorry at all. And my sister, who again, you know, tragically lost her 2 years ago, and I miss her every single day, I really do. We had our fights, we argued, but we always kind of came back, and you know, it's awful to lose a sibling. But she retired early, and again, it's one of the things I'm really thankful I pushed her to, because she was saying, oh, I can't afford to. And then I said, well, let's look at your pensions. Well, I won't have enough. But then she went to see a financial advisor, and she had enough to pay off her mortgage and live a very modest life. And right up to the end, before she died, she said, I got no regrets. I've done my travelling. And she said, you know, I'm so thankful I've had these few years to be retired. And I am thankful for her that she did love being home, doing simple things, you know. She loved her bus pass, and just not having to work. And so, yeah, if any of you are out there thinking, oh, well, not yet, I'll save a bit more money. I mean, obviously, it's your life. You must make your own minds up. But yeah, if I could urge anyone who's on the fence to just do it. And some of you have been urging me similarly to stop talking about travelling and just get out and do it. And yes, I take that on board. I've got to get out and do it. I am here at the moment for a number of things coming up, not least Romy's got not an MOT, sorry, that is due in the next few weeks, but I'm having the timer belts and the water pump done next week. I'm getting all the little jobs done to give me that window of going from June onwards. Although other things keep cropping up. Like I've just spoken to the eye clinic, and they want mum to come in for a clinic appointment at some point in June. And I think if I don't just book and go, there will be always something popping up to stop me going. So I am going to just clear the diary, and I pretty much have done that with my family, children, so that they know when I'm going. And yeah, just at the moment, I've been to the library. And most of you know, if you've followed me for a while, you'll know my love of books. And I've been to the library today, got some more books to give me some inspiration. And I love reading. There's this book here, One Woman Walks Europe. It's Ursula Martin. And I followed her, well, since the time I started this channel. I read her first book, One Woman Walks Wales. What an inspiring lady. And this book, she walks from the UK to Ukraine. This is obviously before the war, and back again. And unbelievable. I have no plans for do anything that brave. Just going off in my van on my own is my plans. And I used to do them on this channel, little walks locally, exploring weird and wonderful things. I started doing the Taff Trail. There's been so many things I've started and not completed. So going forward, aside from these little chats, which are lovely, I hope you've got a cup of tea as well as you're watching this. But yes, a lot of the videos are going to be me going out and doing some exploring as well. Again, I got a bit distracted. I started off this video doing some introductions, and I kind of got to where I am now, I think, up to a year ago. And I've already mentioned the fact that my marriage has come to an end, and it's not the first marriage, by the way. I've already explained this in depth on my other channel, but yeah, unfortunately, this is my third marriage breakdown. I know. I'm not proud of it. I'm not ashamed either. It's just one of those things. As I said, the last video, we're both grown-ups. We don't share children. We've been very financially separate anyway, which was a good thing because it's a lot less to sort out. And I think that came down to me from my second marriage breakdown. I've always been very independent and kind of believed in my own finances. I know other people do it quite differently, but for me, you know, I had my own home, I had my own savings, and when I got married, we kept our finances quite separate. So yeah, that's a lot less complicated. And just reiterating that I am happily solo. I've had a few comments from people saying, don't say you're single on here, you're going to get everyone trying to come on trips with you. I'm, for the first time in my life, well, adult life, I am not pursuing a romantic relationship. I've been divorced before, I've been single. I was single 10 years before I married my last husband. I obviously was dating in those years. But right now, as I've said, I am just getting to know me again. And I think it's the first time I've really got to know me ever in my life. And okay, it's taken me 50 odd years, but I am relishing the opportunity. And I think that has sort of connected with some of you, and that's why some of you are joining, is to kind of you're in and I've watched some of your channels. You're quite inspiring because you're already out there doing it. So I think I found my tribe, and it's just so lovely to sort of virtually meet you all. And yeah, the dating is I've done online dating. That's, you know, years ago. I'm quite familiar with the concept, but I get a shudder when I think about going online dating now. I am genuinely so content and happy right now with the possibilities, and there is no compromise. There is no, well, I want to go here, well, I don't want to go there, and I want to go here. You know, it's to be fair, my last husband and I were quite compatible with travel. You know, we did a lot, as you see in the videos. We did enjoy our travels, but it is very nice to think, well, I can go when I want to go. I can go for how long I want to go, and yeah, just being completely indulgent. So I think maybe I'll draw this video to a close now. It was one, I think I posted 3 videos in the last week. Well, one of them was a short. There was 2 longer ones. And those videos have, like, it's all relative, but for such a small channel, they've had so many views for my, you know, for my size channel. I'm really quite overwhelmed. I feel quite nervous making this video. It's like a band when they've had a successful first album, making that painful second album. And it's like, I'm nervous to make a video that everyone's like, oh no, I don't think I want to follow her after all. So I thought, I'm just going to switch the camera on and chat. And yeah, that's hopefully been of interest. But like I keep saying, just let me know if there's anything you kind of wouldn't want to know, anything about me, anything about future plans. Not that I really know what they are at the moment. And don't forget, if you do like the relaxation, the whispering, the rambles, and you just like to switch off listening to something, maybe help you to sleep, then you can follow me on my other YouTube channel, which is the Welsh Lady ASMR. I do have a website as well, also called the Welsh Lady ASMR. and I will be updating that content to reflect this channel that has been rebirthed. So hope you're all doing well and look forward to reading more comments from you, and I'll speak to you very soon.